Welcome to Understanding Adobe Photoshop. My name's Rich Harrington. Today, we're going to use an alpha channel to store transparency inside a Photoshop document. Now, the alpha channel serves two major purposes. Within Photoshop, it functions as a saved selection, so you could take an active selection and store it for later use. Outside of Photoshop, it serves as embedded transparency with the file, which works great for both print and multimedia applications. Let's explore. I've opened up a simple image here so we can quickly make a selection. Now, you can use this technique with any selection. We've just chosen this one because it's an easy image to illustrate what we're going to accomplish. I'll switch over to channels, and you will see that right now we have three different channels, a red, a green, and a blue channel describing the current image data. And if we look at each channel independently, we see that the brighter the channel, the more the presence of color in that image. So for example, this palm tree has very little blue, but a high value of green and red indicated by the leaves and tree trunk. I'm going to choose the green channel here. It looks very high contrast compared to the background, and duplicate it. When you add a fourth channel to an RGB image or a fifth channel to a CMYK image, it is considered the alpha channel. Let's go ahead and grab green, and we'll drag it on the new channel icon, and it becomes duplicated, named green copy. I'll double click to load it and name it alpha. There we go. With it selected, we'll press Command or Control L for levels, and I'm just going to pull the white slider in until we get a nice high contrast selection. Notice there we've got a good job of the fronds of the palm selected. A little bit of background noise here, so I'll pull the black slider in to clean that up down that lower left corner there, you see it. And we can move the middle slider to choke that in or out, essentially creating variable transparency. That looks pretty good there. I'll go ahead and click OK, and it's ready to go. And at this point, the alpha channel is created. Now, if you save this document out and you brought it into another application, the transparency would be there. So Adobe After Effects or InDesign or apps like Final Cut Pro would recognize this and allow the graphic to be keyed or composited, essentially knocking the background out, placing the palm tree by itself. Now, if you want to use this alpha channel within Photoshop, you have to load it as a selection. So I could just Command click on the channel to load it. You see there it is. Turn the RGB data back on. And for a second here, let's just press Command or Control H to hide the marching ants. Notice there the red is functioning to indicate the alpha channel. Most common, this will be shown as red inside of Photoshop because it's simulating a traditional Rubylith mask, which was a printing technology used back in the analog days to composite elements together. You could change this to any color you want if you just double click on the alpha channel. Notice that the channel options come up, and you could change the color and the opacity to taste. I'm going to turn the alpha off for a moment, and remember we do have an active selection. Command H will toggle it off and on. On a PC, that's just Control H. We'll switch over to layers here for a moment. We have an active selection. Let's just go ahead and float this, and we'll call it Palm Tree. And we'll click the Add Layer Mask button to turn the selection into a mask. And there you have it. We've extracted the branches and the trunk. So, we've used the alpha channel there for a couple of purposes. We've stored transparency for use outside of Photoshop. We also save the alpha channel as a selection that could be reloaded at any time. On a Mac, you just Command click on the channel thumbnail. On a PC, that's Control click. So, very useful stuff. Make sure you get comfortable with the alpha channel because it can really save time in the future if you need to reload a selection or store transparency. For Understanding Adobe Photoshop, my name's Rich Harrington.